It's Thursday morning, and it's now time for Treasure Coast native attorney Travis Walker and Legal Off the Cuff from Travis Walker Law in Stewart. The opinions expressed are those of the show's host, not WSTU or Travis Walker Law. Now it's time for Legal Off the Cuff, definitely not your father's legal show, and here's Travis Walker.
Good morning. This is Travis Walker, an attorney here in Stewart. Just so grateful and happy to be here for Legal Off the Cuff, another Thursday at 9 a.m. Ready to talk about and provide value to you, the listeners, with regards to legal issues here on the Treasure Coast and across the country. But our office is here in Stewart, right there on Federal Highway. It's the old Helping People Succeed building. Our phone number there is 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. You can always visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com, or you can email me at traviswalker@traviswalkerlaw.com. The phone number here at the studio is WSTU 220-WSTU. 220-WSTU 220-9788. If you want to call in, happy to take some calls and chat a little bit with regards to legal issues that are ongoing and everything. And it's always an opportunity to provide some good feedback and everything. Obviously, it's super important for to provide the information that you need to make sure that you can make effective decisions. Obviously, you can't really create an attorney-client privilege, but at the same time, kind of give you general legal insight as to how things work as much as we possibly can. My law firm, I have the great benefit of having a super amazing people surround me, which is the key to everything in life, I think, both in family and work. And so I have 7 attorneys around, a total staff of 20, and their job is to really make sure that we provide clients the best services possible. Our firm, we are here to help clients get through some of the most difficult and challenging times of their lives as efficiently and compassionately as possible. We also believe that clients deserve a confident team behind them responding to clients, because there are no spare clients, and so we always want to make sure that we're taking care of our clients, because we know how important legal issues are. We recognize that most people don't see an attorney because they want to. They're dealing with a very significant issue. In our office, we provide services with regards to divorce and family law, probate, estate planning, business law, real estate, personal injury, accidents, product liability law, wage and hour law. And those, all the attorneys that work here at the office, they work in those specific practice areas so that they can really dive deep, go an inch wide and a mile deep on those legal issues, as opposed to a mile wide and an inch deep. And that's the reason why I'm so grateful to have the team that we have, because they can really do the work that's necessary in order to provide the best legal services possible. So thank you so much. If you want to reach out to our office, mention this radio show, we'll give you a free consultation. It's a $185 value. You can visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com, or 772-708-0952 is the call line there. So one of the questions, obviously, we get a lot of is the integration of probate, estate planning, and divorce, and real estate. So, real estate obviously is involved in divorces because you have a piece of property that's involved. One of the things that happens in divorces often is like what happens to the piece of property during the divorce, and a lot of times, people think, hey, you got 50-50 equitable distribution here in Florida. That's exactly the way it happens. The analogy I always use is it's not like you're taking a cake and you're cutting it right down the middle. It really is, you're taking a baseball bat and trying to split the cake right down the middle with a big wham of the bat, and everything kind of goes everywhere. So that's really how things work, because when it comes down to the piece of property, yes, I mean, was the property purchased with premarital funds? Was there an inheritance that was used to purchase the property? Was a trust involved in purchasing the property? Was the trust or the inheritance used for improvements to the property? Are people, was there an investment of the property outside? Did one person make a significant amount of contributions to it? I mean, right now in this real estate market, albeit it's gone down just a bit, we are still seeing a significant amount of equity for people, even if they bought within the last couple of years or so. And so they're working through, if it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, or if it's a divorce where it's a husband and wife and they're having to sell the property, we're working through those issues with them, because it's obviously creates a big issue, because they're, nobody wants to break up, and nobody bought the property together thinking they were going to break up, but it is the reality of trying to work through it, and it's not necessarily a 50-50 issue. So it's obviously always very important to analyze it in its totality to see exactly what's going on. So here at the law offices of Travis R. Walker, we definitely help people out with that, and try to get them through it as quickly and efficiently as possible in a compassionate manner. And that's our goal. So whether it's the real estate issues or the probate issues or the divorce issues, we're there to help out as much as we possibly can. Another question is does a will supersede a divorce decree in Florida? In Florida, a will can supersede a divorce decree if the will clearly shows an intention to do so. It is common for spouses to leave their estates to each other in their wills. Not every couple that goes through divorce is prompt in updating their estate planning documents. To address this problem, the Florida legislature has adopted several laws that essentially call for an override of the will if a deceased former spouse's will names his or her ex, but the will or the divorce decree does not mention the divorce. So we all, one of the things that we often suggest to people going through divorce is, make sure that you get your estate planning updated, because if you have a will where you included that, it's not clean. There is some laws that were passed. However, it's not a clean way of doing things. Obviously, if you have a will and then you got divorced, and then later on someone passes, and then you have to probate it, that can create a huge issue. So the Florida statutes provide that a married person executed that affects their spouse becomes void upon divorce unless the will of divorce, decree, or judgment explicitly states that the inheritance remains in effect through the divorce. So as other estate planning tools are affected by state statutes as well, if a spouse executes a revocable trust before divorce or annulment and it benefits the other spouse, that provision in the trust will become void upon divorce unless the court's judgment or trust instrument clearly states otherwise. And then, some people have amicable divorces. We have people who come in for uncontested divorces, and, they're just ready to move on with their lives and everything. But, and maybe they still want to leave things in their will to their significant other. So, definitely updating the estate planning is important, because, if you did want to actually leave, something to your spouse, and then and then the other thing is like, sometimes people have great relationships with the spouse, their ex-spouse's children, and trying to leave property to them. And the will, if you have a will where it provides for a bequest to your spouse, and then that spouse predeceases you, passes away before you die, effectively the children could get an interest in that. However, that all has to be worked out, and that's why it gets murky and dirty and stuff if you don't update your estate planning with regards to it. So that's a huge deal, and everything else. And happy to talk more about estate planning as much as we can. And I'm so grateful for Evan today, because he did bring in the tin can today, and before we got on the show, we were able to go through it a little bit, and it's fascinating. And your dad did such a great job with really kind of making sure everything was taken care of, up to the point where I love astronomy, and this reminds me of a black dwarf or a white dwarf star, where it's got so much stuff in this tin can. It's so compacted and compounded. There's just so much information. You could probably spend hours, and it's not a huge box, but there's so much information in there. You could spend hours and hours going through it.
It's crazy because, he was always so organized from being in the military and stuff like that.
Right.
And he wanted to make sure that I would have no heartaches at all.
Good.
The only heartache was, of course, the loss of him.
It's a good dad.
But, he wanted to make sure that everything was set. And as I showed you, there's things, you're a young guy. So there's things in here that, like when I handed you that charge card slip.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've never seen one of those, probably.
No, I don't think I have. And it was literally created 4 years ago, when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just, for him to save every piece of information throughout, basically his entire,
his whole life is in this box.
This is insane.
This is his whole 87-year life.
That is so
sits
cool.
in this box right next to you.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy, but it's the way things should be.
Yeah.
Because this is so convenient for you, compared to what, I've got people who are I thought he had a life insurance policy over there, or I thought he had a will. Maybe he does. Maybe it's in this place. Maybe it's in that place.
Yeah.
Every single thing you would ever need is in this one box.
Yeah. It's nuts. It is. And even afterwards, after he was gone, this came from the place that handled all the service.
Right.
And I even keep that in there at the back, because that's the end.
The end.
The end, literally. And I don't mean to joke about it, but it's the end. So all the death certificates are certified that are here, that if I would have needed them or anything like that, or
Wow.
there's some notes and, just other little things and stuff like that.
And he did such a great job and had enough foresight to do all that. And a lot of people don't like to have to deal with the very difficult issue of dealing with their own death. And
I see you keep looking at that can.
I'm impressed. Like I said, I'm super impressed because, like I said, I think it's so compact that you probably have like hours and hours worth of data.
There's not
a whole lot of oxygen left.
No, there's not.
And like you said, like, you can still tell that it's still got the smell from when he was in his old house.
It's because how when you walk into like an older person's home,
yes,
and it has this very distinct smell.
Yes.
Okay. My dad's house had that very distinct smell.
Yes.
So when I open this can up, that smell just like it comes out.
It comes out. But like how long has that can been in your house?
This can has been in my house. Let me see. He passed away in 2008, moved to Port St. Lucie in 2009. So I want to say, no, he passed away in 2007, moved to Port St. Lucie in 2008, 18. It's been in the house 14 years.
Wow. And it still smells
It still has this scent from my dad's house.
That is so
which is
cool.
the craziest thing.
It's crazy and cool at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, he's like still around kind of.
It's
right?
like, you shut the lid. That's it. You open the lid. It's like he's in there and then
it's like, hey,
time to come out for a little bit.
Dad's out.
Then time to go away.
That's crazy. I mean, and those of you,
and it sits under my desk.
Yeah.
Right. It's at my feet every single day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's not in a closet buried anywhere.
Oh, that's really nice.
No, it sits right under my desk.
That is so cool. And like, I mean, we do have, this is all shown on YouTube. Like the WSTU does this YouTube video.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to see a picture of this,
yeah,
see it right behind
there.
Evan.
It is right there. Yeah.
Right behind Evan. You can see it. And it's like, it's
we're not kidding.
We're not playing around. We're not just coming up with stuff. I thought it was gonna be like more like a coffee can with some Post-it notes in it and stuff like that. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
I know.
That's really cool.
I know. Like you were like, you were coming in today. You were probably like, yeah, he's just going to bring, like you said, this little can and it's a couple little notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And on the count, and there it is. It's like in living color right there.
Wow. No, like I said, I'm very impressed. I've been doing probate, estate planning, real estate work for 15 years. Don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah.
In the live. And like I said, I usually have clients who come in and say like, I can't find this, I can't find that. I think he had a will. I'm not sure he had a will. Yeah. For certain whether he had a will.
I mean, every will is in there. I mean, I've read them all. I've read
even
them
the
all
ones you revoked, probably like the older versions of the same thing or something, right? That's so cool.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I could. If you want to take a look when you have some time one day, I can let you just peruse through and let you see what it was like back in the day.
Definitely.
For all those, like he had the living will, the durable power of attorney for I don't know what. There's this and that, and there's all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah, no, he was well prepared, and it would be. It's a great gift to you, and and it's also very convenient for you, and you don't have to deal with it. And he had the foresight to do it, so I give him a lot of credit.
And a lot of people should do those things.
They should.
They really should.
They should. I mean, it's a good benefit to you because it gives you certainty that the loved ones you leave behind are going to make sure that they're taken care of.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's really. I mean, you can't take any of this stuff with you when you die. So like one of the things you can do is obviously you have the loved ones you leave behind and you make sure they're taken care of.
I mean, there's even instructions in here. This is really it might creep you out a little bit.
No.
There's even instructions in here about his Army uniform, that he's to be buried in his Class A Army uniform.
Wow.
And the hat is not to go on his head.
Really?
It's to rest on his chest.
Yeah.
While the viewing is going on.
Wow.
And then when it's time to close the casket, to take the hat and take it home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, so you still have the hat?
The hat is sitting on a mantle at home.
That's beautiful.
It sits there.
That is so cool.
There's a whole wall dedicated to my dad at home.
I love that.
I'll have to find if I have a picture on my phone. I'll have to look.
Yeah, take a look because that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's great.
That was one of the first things we did when we moved up here. We put his Army portrait up on the wall before anything else went up.
Yeah,
that was the first thing that went up, so he could always look over everything.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's beautiful that you had that relationship with him, and that still continued on. because that's huge. And it looks as though I was like, you were flipping through things. It looks like he was a colonel.
Yeah.
So that's big deal,
How
man.
did you figure that out?
I saw you flipping through it. You know,
okay.
it said colonel. So it's like, oh, he spent a good amount of time there. Gave a lot of service to our country.
Yeah, here,
so.
I'll show you this. I hope this doesn't creep you out.
No.
But this is here you go. You can look at that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And you see the hat right there.
Yeah, you called it.
There it is.
Right there.
Yeah.
Just the way he wanted it.
Yep, exactly.
That's beautiful. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I give you a lot of credit, man.
It's definitely good stuff.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great example for anyone listening. Like, if you if you're ever thinking about doing estate planning or someone who needs to do some estate planning, Evan's dad is just a great example.
Yeah, there's the portrait I was telling you about.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Who did that?
I don't know. That's an oil painting. That's true. It's got to be at least 50 years old.
Yeah,
if not
he looks
more.
like he was probably like in his 30s or 40s.
20s. He was
20s?
20,
Wow.
like late 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You got all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, I do. Definitely so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about my dad. We're here to talk about what you do.
No. I mean, it's great, but it's a great segue, and it's a great, like I said, it's a great example of what to do.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, especially like in divorce and probate and things like that, we see a lot of great examples of what not to do. If you're like, people will had a property before they got married, and then they deeded the person onto the property, and now they have property interest, and now you're trying to get them off the property. In probate, a lot. I deal with a lot of families fighting each other, which is just awful. And that's a great example of what not to do. But I mean, like in the event, like someone's being completely unreasonable and greedy or whatever, unfortunately, you do have to get an attorney involved sometimes. And that's an example of when we do get involved. However, what I'm observing here with your dad is just a great example of what to do, making sure that your estate planning is in order. You have the living wills, you have the durable powers of attorney, you have designations of healthcare surrogate, you have designations of pre-need guardianship, you have a will, there's trusts involved and everything else like that. And so everything in its totality is taken care of. And so that when someone passes away, or ladybird deed, so you have a deed where someone, instead of having to probate the house, the deed provides the necessary language so that the property goes to the next person automatically, and that way you don't have to probate the estate just for a house.
Yeah.
So all that planning is super important, and like I said, that's a great example of what to do, all the way from the living will and the durable power of attorney you showed me to all the way to like the funeral arrangements and everything else. So great stuff.
The box is going to start it's going to grow eyes, and it's going to look back at you because you keep looking at it.
I know. It's like, I'll probably have a dream about it tonight or something like that. That's that impactful. So that's great stuff.
No, you're going to go home tonight. You're going to actually go to your local Office Depot, and you're going to buy one of these.
Yeah.
And you're going to start stacking it.
Right? That's a great. I mean, I think, or maybe you need to license those and probably sell it as the estate planning box.
Well, can you do that for me? I mean, you're an attorney. We can put a estate planning box.
We get the intellectual property,
right?
We get the licensing.
Okay.
We'll find somebody to do it. We'll get a royalty.
We'll go half and half.
We'll do it. We got this.
All right.
I'm here with you.
I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, no, that's a great opportunity. So we'll be back in just a few minutes with Legal Off the Cuff. This is Travis Walker. We'll see you here in a few minutes. All right, this is Travis Walker with the Law Offices of Travis R. Walker here, back with Legal Off the Cuff. www.traviswalkerlaw.com. Call us at 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. Mention this radio show, get a free consultation, $185 value. I'd love to talk with you with regards to any of the practice areas we do, including divorce, probate, estate planning, real estate, business, wage and hours, accidents, anything and everything that you got going on. We're happy to chat with you about to see if it's something we can help you out with. And again, a free consultation. If you mention this radio show, give us a call, 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. If you have a question here for the radio show, 220-WSTU, 220-9788. And happy to chat with you with regards to any of those type of questions that you have. We did talk a little bit about real estate and divorce. One of the questions we have is, what happens to a house in a Florida divorce? And there's no standard answer on what happens to a couple's home when they go through a divorce in Florida. The marital assets go through a process of what we call equitable distribution, in which the property is divided in half, except where fairness calls for a different type of split. So at the end of the process, one spouse may get to remain in the house, or the couple may be ordered to sell the house and split the proceeds. It just depends upon how things work out. And we've definitely helped people to either make sure that the house is sold, or make sure that if you're trying to keep the house and keep the other one from selling it, we definitely work things out that way. A divorcing couple can avoid the uncertainty of allowing a judge to distribute the property by drafting a settlement. That way you can negotiate it out and make sure that the property division happens the way you want it to. Because if ultimately the parties can't get to an agreement with regards to how a property is going to be sold, and this has to do with whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, or a probate with a property, any type of property, including a divorce. If the parties can't come to an agreement with regards to how to sell the property, a judge might decide, and the judge might sell it on the courthouse steps, and then you're not really ensured that you have the certainty that you're going to get fair market value. And as we know, that one of the 6 human needs is certainty, and certainly you're not getting any certainty by having your property sold at the courthouse steps. It could be sold for quite a bit less than what the actual fair market value is. So there's definitely value to trying to work things out as much as you possibly can. There's 2 types of property at issue in a Florida divorce, primarily marital property and separate property. Separate property is property that either spouse acquired before the marriage and it is not divided. The spouse who brought it into the marriage retains full rights to it after the divorce. Marital property is property that was acquired by either person during the marriage and is equally divided between the spouses, unless fairness dictates that it's divided unequally. And again, that's one of those things. A lot of people think that divorce is just a 50-50 deal, but really it's what's equitable and what's fair. And sometimes, it's not, doesn't come out the way that it's certainly not, doesn't come out 50-50 for sure. That's why it's important to make sure that you analyze your legal rights and, the case law and everything else to make sure that you're completely up on how that works. So, definitely would recommend, whether it's our law firm or another law firm, make sure that you get some advice with regards to, going through divorce and everything. Because, the primary steps of a divorce in Florida is the actual filing of the divorce itself and the response. Second is the discovery phase, where, you do financial affidavits and mandatory disclosure. And the third step is, and one of the most important steps, is mediation. And in this circuit, especially, mediation is always required in divorces. You're forced to do it. In Florida, mediation is non-binding, which means that it's not like you're going in front of like a quasi-judge or a judge and someone makes a decision. And it's confidential. So everything you say during mediation is confidential and privileged. So later on, if you say, I offered $200,000 for the house, you can't have that used against you later on, because you used it during mediation. So that can't be leveraged against you later on. So, the good things about mediation, of course, is that you get a quicker resolution. The case gets behind you as quickly as possible. It's more economical. You keeps the cost down by resolving the case more quickly. It provides a lot of certainty. The parties know what they're agreeing to, and leaving the decision to a judge leads to a lot of unpredictable results. And, even then the judges, unfortunately, don't always get it right. I mean, if they did, we wouldn't have 9 Supreme Court justices. And if they did, we wouldn't have an appeals court system. So things that judges are people just like anyone else. And sometimes they make mistakes, and that's what the appeals courts are for. So, you definitely, if you can, don't leave it in the hands of a judge to make decisions with regards to your property. And even the judges will tell you that when you're in front of them. Flexibility. Mediation provides flexibility in determining child custody matters or property division. Judges follow schedules and guidelines that may not make sense for a specific couple, but mediators can help spouses create personalized plans. It doesn't have to be like one way or another. And the judges are taught, and the judges do a great job of getting educated with regards to what's best and what's in the child's best interest. But they're not necessarily, going to create a system that's customized for the kids that are involved, in the marriage. So that's important. Less formal mediation takes place in a relaxed setting. Honestly, I mean, I always show up in a suit and tie, but a lot of people don't. But it's all done via Zoom now. One person is, and so you don't even have to be in the same office space as your spouse, and you just get a Zoom in, and you do the Zoom and get it done, settled and over with, and move on with your life. So that's obviously less formal, which is great. Personal information, if you mediate, you don't have a lot of the personal stuff going on out there in the public realm. And privacy, litigation is a public process, but for the most part, what happens in mediation is confidential. So it's important to do mediation. I mean, it's important to do mediation in any case, but especially in divorce. So, it's one of the things that we help guide people through, and it's an important part of the process. I probably do mediations on average at least once or twice a week, because they're just such an important integral part of the divorce process. So if you or someone is dealing with a divorce, or a paternity issue or adoption, child support issue, feel free to give us a call at our office, at the law office of Travis R. Walker. I am Travis Walker, but the website is www.traviswalkerlaw.com. Call us at 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. Email me at traviswalker@traviswalkerlaw.com, and making sure that we're taking care of you. Another thing that we do some at the office is wage and hour work. If you know someone who's been dealing with overtime, or independent contractors that have not been properly classified, or if you were entitled to compensation that from getting paid by your employer that never came through, we help out with that as well. So there's a lot of people who you don't know, and the laws are constantly changing, the wage and hour law. I mean, right now there's a move by the federal government to reclassify independent contractors, including making sure that the control issue, because the biggest thing between employees and independent contractors is the level of control you have over the independent contractors. So making sure that you're getting a fair shake, or someone isn't getting a fair shake with regards to overtime or independent contractor work. That's a huge issue that we can help out with as well. We do free consultations for those, in addition to the accident work that we do. Obviously, we have our commercial out on TV, and we're proud of it. We're making sure that everybody sees it. But of course, we do accident work on a contingency fee basis as well. So if you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, we're happy to have a free consultation with them to figure out the best solutions possible, give you the best options, see if it's something we can help you out with, or at least lead you in a direction and give you some certainty with regards to what your overall process would be. So definitely give us a call, and make sure that if you have any uncertainty with regards to what's going on with regards to the accident, that's a big deal. So that's something we can help out with. That obviously we do the Camp Lejeune stuff. That's the big water contamination cases. I spoke with someone recently who is involved in that litigation. He's dealing with some significant neurological issues, brain issues with regards to thinking and processing, because of the PFAS that was found in the water in the Camp Lejeune area. Obviously, that's active litigation. We're involved in that as well. We're co-counseling with a number of great firms across the country to make sure that our clients are getting the best representation that they can. So we're working actively on those and making sure that we're doing that to make sure that everybody's doing great, and getting the compensation that they deserve. The roundup cases are a big part of it as well. If you or a loved one has actively used Roundup and has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, those cases are still ongoing as well. Again, we're doing those on a contingency fee basis to see if it's something we can help out with, because it's an awful product, the glyphosate. And what it does to the system is huge. And so, especially if there's been active use of it, there's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, please don't hesitate to give us a call at the office, 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. The other one is talcum powder, which is the Johnson & Johnson baby powder, and its effect on ovarian cancer. And Johnson & Johnson's kind of spun off baby powder and actually has indicated that they're no longer going to sell baby powder in most of the world because of the asbestos that's in the talc and its effect on women, especially ovarian cancer, when that's used as a feminine hygiene product. So if you or a loved one has had ovarian cancer or female reproductive system cancers, it's definitely something to take a look at, and give us a call, 772-708-0952, to give us a ring with regards to that as well. So definitely there's a lot of products out there, whether it's the old Ford Pinto cases or the like, where there was a small little thing that could have been done to make the product better but wasn't. Unfortunately, a lot of these companies, they know they're going to get involved in litigation at some point, and they're just looking for it.
Did you say Ford Pinto?
I said Ford Pinto. Yeah.
Wow. That's back in my day.
With the old, like, if it got rear-ended, it would catch on fire cases and stuff.
I had a Chevy Vega.
Is that like the competitor? Or?
That was like the competitor.
Okay, cool.
That was my first car at 16, was a Chevy Vega, and the Pinto was the competitor to the Vega.
Oh, glad you had a Vega.
Yeah.
How did it work out for you?
I blew the engine after about 3 months.
Oh, really?
Trying to drag race a 4-cylinder with a cast aluminum block. Not the right thing to do.
Where was that at? Was that here? Or?
That was down in North Lauderdale.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, way down south.
That would have been wild.
It was back in these days.
Yeah, no, that'd been crazy, because I can only imagine dragon racing with a 4-cylinder. It must have been.
Yeah, it just wasn't pretty.
Good stuff. Excellent.
I still can't believe you brought up Ford Pinto.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a classic case. It's like, the Ford company knew that a specific part, had they added it for, I want to say it was $8 or $12 per vehicle, and they added it, it would have put protections onto the vehicle so that it wouldn't have caught on fire when it got rear-ended. But they decided not to, because it would save them money, and they said, okay, well, if we average what the amount of lives lost because of this would be, and then it makes less money. And so that's why, and that's a big reason why we have punitive damages now, because that way companies just can't, like, create, some actuary can't just decide, hey, we're going to do a cost versus benefit analysis, and people will die in the process, but overall the corporation is going to make money, so we're good with that. So that's definitely something we try and get away from. And certainly want to make sure that we take the frivolous lawsuits out of the equation, but at the same time, obviously want to make sure people get compensated for injuries to themselves and their loved ones. So, yeah, no, it's a great thing to be involved in, and that's why that's why you got to do accident law, on a contingency fee basis, because you never know when that's going to be needed. You're going to need some contingency fee help, which, of course, contingencies is where we don't get paid unless we recover for you, and we do everything we possibly can to make sure that you're taken care of. So, definitely, if anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to always. We're here at the studio every Thursday at 9 a.m. for Legal Off the Cuff. It's 220-WSTU 220-9788, or call. I'm Travis Walker with the law offices of Travis R. Walker. We have 8 attorneys who handle these different practice areas, and they really dive deep into them. They're an inch wide and a mile deep, as opposed to a mile wide and an inch deep on these issues. And so, if you have a question with regards to anything I discuss, or basically anything legally involved, happy to set up a free consultation for you. If it's not something that we handle, it's definitely something we can refer you to make sure that you get somebody that we trust and have some confidence in, so that you can make sure that you're getting the help you deserve. Because last thing you want to do is have legal issues hanging over your head and that are preventing you from living your best life. So, it's definitely something we can help you out with, and go from there. So we're going to be back here in just a couple of minutes. Law offices of Travis R. Walker with Legal Off the Cuff. All right, this is Travis Walker with the Law Offices of Travis R. Walker here again. Phone number here at the studio is WSTU 220 WSTU 220-9788, or reach us after the radio show, Law Offices of Travis R. Walker, www.traviswalkerlaw.com. Call us at 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. We're doing free consultations for anyone who mentions this radio show, and it's $185 value. So give us a call. Love to chat with you about any legal issues you or a loved one or someone you know is dealing with, and figure out what the best solution may possibly be. One of the things, especially in a burgeoning real estate market, that we're seeing a lot of is people dealing with termite issues or construction defects without knowledge of it. In Florida, there's a duty for people to disclose any latent defects, any defects in the property that they know about that wouldn't, be reasonably discoverable. And, then buyers get into the property, and then they're, forced to take on huge responsibilities. I've taken on a number of cases where a buyer purchased a property, and then, later found out there was, a significant amount of termite damage and damage throughout the house, and is now then forced to remediate the house. And sometimes it's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so. And it's not, the law is pretty clear that, if you have a person who knows or should have known that there was termite damage into a house and then doesn't disclose that, and that's obviously a disclosure that's usually done with regards to the contract. Usually, not only do you have, when you make an offer on a property, you also get a list of what we call seller's disclosures. And if the seller failed to disclose something along those lines, it's definitely an issue with regards to that needs to be litigated, because these people shouldn't be able to get away with latent defects, and that's what the Florida law provides for. So, if you know someone who's dealing with a real estate issue, they bought into a house that's got a pool issue that wasn't disclosed, or is dealing with termite damage or something that wasn't disclosed, it's definitely something to worth looking into, because it's not the law is pretty clear about that you need to make sure that you're disclosing those things. And if they fail to do so, then you have a potential lawsuit on your hands, because then the buyer sometimes gets stuck with liability which may be in excess of the actual value of the building sometimes. So, real estate in Florida can be a squishy thing, and it's a dodgy thing sometimes. And we're constantly dealing with things. We also deal a lot with condo associations and homeowners associations. A lot of times, condo associations or association boards are, I think a lot of people are well intended. They get on these boards, but they are voluntary boards, and they don't necessarily have a ton of experience with the law. And then they end up making decisions on their own that affect property owners, both in homeowners associations or mobile home parks or condo associations. And so, if that condo association or a homeowners association is really overstepping their bounds and their rights, that can be a huge issue. I mean, there's constant, obviously, when you buy into an association, you have a duty to be informed of the governing documents, including the covenants and the bylaws and the articles of incorporation and everything. But at the same time, those governing documents are there, to provide a foundational piece. But there's lots of decisions that are made that are sometimes outside the scope of what the association's powers are. So if you or someone is living in an association, dealing with some association issues, happy to chat with them. Do a free consultation at our office, Travis Walker, the law offices of Travis R. Walker, traviswalkerlaw.com, 772-708-0952. Again, at 772-708-0952, or call us here at the studio, 220-WSTU, 220-9788. And definitely love to chat with you about that, because that's an ongoing issue with regards to associations that we constantly seeing, especially a lot of the new developments that are going in. They're all dealing with a lot of association issues, because they're dealing with the transition from the builder owners to the association owners, and making sure that there's a proper transition there, and making sure that everything is done properly. But then also, we're seeing builders who sell off property that shouldn't have been sold off. We're seeing builders that do certain things with regards to promises they made that aren't being fulfilled. And obviously builders are an important part. Without the builders, people wouldn't have homes. But at the same time, we want to make sure that they're fulfilling their obligations pursuant to the law. So definitely give us a call if you know someone who's dealing with builder issues, and doing what needs to be done there, so that we can make sure that they're doing their proper rights. The other thing that we often deal with real property and property issues is water rights. Your right to properly navigate rivers and waterways. If there's been an impeding on that, if someone's improperly dredged or done different things that are causing you to have issues with your boats, that's a huge deal. And we've got attorneys that handle that type of work. And unfortunately, we've got attorneys who handle boating while intoxicated. We've got an attorney here who's two attorneys who've got significant criminal defense experience. So if someone has an issue with regards to a DUI or a boating while intoxicated, we're happy to chat with them. Again, mention this radio show, get a free consultation, 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952. And visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com. And we'll definitely help you out. Make sure that you're doing a good job. So, it's definitely something we can help you out with. Make sure that you're doing a great job with, getting the representation that you deserve and need, so that you don't have to worry about it. So, basically just give us a call whenever you have a chance, and we'll be right back. Law offices of Travis R. Walker with Legal Off the Cuff. All right, Travis Walker, the law offices of Travis R. Walker, here with Legal Off the Cuff. You visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com or give us a call, 772-708-0952. Evan had a quick question while we were off the air with regards to flying flags and associations. And this was actually a big deal, several years ago, because people would actually, we're not allowed to, in some associations, fly, American flag, which is completely crazy and ridiculous when you think about it. But that's what some associations get so hardcore with regards to, what they believe, the strict rules that they have, that they don't even allow you to fly an American flag. But there is a Florida statute, and especially at least in the homeowners association. So the homeowners association chapter is 720, the condo association chapter is 718. But in the homeowners association act, there's it specifically permits the flying of the U.S. flag and other types of governmental flags, including military branches and that type of thing. It does not address things such as political flags. So you got a lot of people who have flags. I think in the last 5 years you see so many more people, especially in Port St. Lucie or whatever. They got their flag poles up and they fly whatever they want to.
Oh yeah.
They'll let you know where they stand.
Oh yes.
And
not mentioning any of the candidates' names.
Not mentioning any of the candidates' names, and they may have obscenities on them or they may not.
Oh, they do. My next door neighbor has one that's got the big F word right there towards somebody.
Yep.
And you know what? He's a good friend of mine, and I respect his wishes.
Yeah, and
doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother you. And it's a land of free speech, and it's great. So but if obviously if that property was in an association, that probably wouldn't fly. So like that would be a big issue. I mean, and pursuant to that homeowners association law, if someone flies an American flag or the Marine Corps flag or the Navy flag or something like that, or the state of Florida flag, those all seem pursuant to that law to be okay. But like if you fly a political flag or like a candidate flag or something like that, that's when we start to get into the gray area, and then that becomes maybe a litigation issue, because if the association tells you to bring it down, then you have perhaps and this is where us lawyers hang out and play, is in the gray area. Is that free speech?
What about a sports team flag?
That's a good question.
Underneath the American flag, because my flagpole has two flags.
As the Mets?
I don't have a Mets flag up on it. But I have the American flag, and then I have a thin blue line flag. Supporting military.
Right.
I mean, I'm supporting law enforcement. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
exactly.
So then I think obviously that's much closer to I like the Minnesota Twins. So like if I had the Minnesota Twins flag flying like that, the thin blue line is definitely a much closer to what I think the statute is intended for, as opposed to like a baseball team.
Right.
So like I think that that would be like a good argument. I mean, I think there's like a strong argument that like, is this a government flag, or is this basically supporting the government by
what about at holiday time? Some people like to put up Christmas flags.
Yeah,
I see them all the time.
It's a great question, because that's a great, I mean, people, there's advantages to living in associations. Obviously people, you get a lot of certainty as to how things are going to look. You got different types of people who are in that community and everything. But obviously it's one of the things that I enjoy. And having practiced association law for 15 years, I don't live in an association. And that's probably for the same reason, is like,
same here.
I don't want to deal with I don't want to deal with what roof color I'm going to have, or what my mailbox is going to look like, or what flags I can fly and everything else like that. So, it's an association, the challenge is there's a balance there, because, on one hand, the association has the right and duty to kind of enforce their culture and the way that the property looks, but at the same time, obviously it curbs some of your free speech and your right to kind of individualize your house, or make sure that things are done right, or like if someone comes, someone has an issue with their house, but they're behind budget and really can't make things work, like their driveway has a crack in it or something like that, then you got to you got a real issue, because then the association is going to come after you. They'll fine you, they'll lien your house, then they could even have the right to foreclose on houses, because if once you've kind of bought into that association, that piece of property is now is encumbered is the word, but it's basically you're controlled by whatever governing documents are in that association. And if you don't do the right things, if you don't pay your association fees, if you don't do certain things that are pursuant to the association's rules and requirements, then you can be fined, you can be liened, and you could essentially be foreclosed on at some point. So, it's definitely something to take into account when you're thinking about buying a house, is, in that association is, does you individually, do you mesh with that culture well? Are you cool with, living in a property where you're going to have a lot of your controls? And, obviously it's one thing to be in a homeowners association. It's completely another thing to be in a condo association, which are much more, even more regulated, more controlled, and you really kind of get yourself into a situation, because usually a condominium unit is like the actual inside of the unit. You only own a portion of the right to what we call the common elements, or the common property of the condominium association. So putting out flags on a condominium porch or anything else like that is definitely something that you're not going to see a whole lot of. So if you or someone is dealing with association issues, whether it's a condo association or a homeowners association or even a mobile home park or a co-op, I've handled all those cases, been doing this for 15 years. Give us a call. The law offices of Travis R. Walker, 772-708-0952.
Got a question.
Sure.
Just popped in my mind.
Oh, go for
Since
it.
we're talking about
It's off the cuff.
associations. Let's say somebody has a job.
Yes.
Of course, they work.
Yep.
And the only vehicle they have is their work vehicle.
Right.
And it has badging on it.
Right.
The company they work for.
Yeah.
It's the only vehicle they own.
Yep.
And in the laws, it states you cannot have a commercial vehicle in your driveway overnight.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
That's a big challenge.
It's the income. It's their source of income.
It's the way that
they work for XYZ air conditioning company.
You're absolutely right. And I've dealt with this issue before, and it's in associations can get so hardcore about it. I mean, at some point you have to get to some level of flexibility of like people. I mean, but I think, the challenge with associations is that a lot of people get singled out sometimes, and some people, get a pass because they're a friend of the board or something like that, and some people don't. And and that was what we call selective enforcement, which creates a huge issue because the law isn't going to allow some association to fine and lean one person, but allow this other person down the road to get away with it. That's what we call selective enforcement. There's specific laws against that. So if someone whether because like that's a great example, is like this person, it's their take-home truck from their work or whatever, and they're not allowed to park it in their driveway because it has badging on it. It has the business information on it. That's that's a tough position. And I think there's arguments back and forth that can go on, and especially if there's ambiguity, if there's squishiness when it comes to those governing documents, it's definitely something to look into, because that's your livelihood, the ability to do it, and the ability to park at your own home is obviously that's just a huge a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, you're issued a company vehicle. It's how you make your living. You don't own a vehicle, let's just say.
Yep.
And the owner of the company gives you a vehicle to drive so you can work for that company.
Exactly.
And now you can't drive the vehicle home.
And then you have to have that conversation. So that's rough. Yeah, 100%.
Wow. Okay.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Every Thursday at 9 o'clock, this is Legal Off the Cuff with Travis Walker, the law offices of Travis R. Walker. Happy to take any of your legal questions. Give us a call next time, or off the air, give us a call at the law offices. We'll give you a free consultation, 772-708-0952. Again, that's 772-708-0952, or visit us at traviswalkerlaw.com. Have a great day.